Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Impact Money Show. We're broadcasting live from the epicenter of power and profit, Washington, D.C., on this brisk Wednesday, March 26, 2025. Let's kick things off with the weather here in the nation's capital, because even the savviest investor can't outrun the cold snaps. As of 6:20 a.m. this morning, we're chilly at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, with partly cloudy skies casting a soft glow over the monuments. The high is climbing to 52 degrees this afternoon, but the northeast breeze at 10 miles per hour is keeping those cherry blossoms barely budding along the tidal basin in a holding pattern. Spring's flirting with us, but it's not committing yet. If you're braving the hill, the Fed, or the White House today, bundle up. It's a day for crisp collars, warm coats, and razor-sharp focus. Now, what's stirring in D.C.? This city's a cauldron of action. Yesterday was no exception. We had a robotics demonstration on Capitol Hill, high-tech machines dazzling lawmakers, tied to the Senate's big legislative swing this week, which we'll unpack shortly. Traffic's the usual circus. K Street's a bumper-to-bumper snarl of power suits and coffee runs, while the Beltway is a test of grit and gas. But here's a rare win. The Metro's red line is humming smoothly, a lifeline for anyone rolling in from downtown or DuPont Circle. DC's the heartbeat of policy and politics, and we're plugged into every pulse, ready to decode how it all shakes out in your wallet, your investment, and your future. Speaking of pulses, we have electrified. We're still electrified from an absolutely monumental weekend. We're fresh off the tremendously successful Bitcoin Palooza in New York City. And folks, it was a triumph that's still echoing through the crypto corridors. The Big Apple morphed into the crypto capital. Thousands of you flooded in, from Wall Street sharks to blockchain dreamers, all diving headfirst into Bitcoin's unstoppable ascent. The blockchain's boundless potential, and how digital assets are rewriting the rules of wealth. The atmosphere was pure adrenaline. Traders hashing out moves, hodlers preaching Satoshi's vision, innovators sketching the next crypto moonshot over a few drinks, and of course, live music by even yours truly and others. Bitcoin's dominance was really the rock star of the event, though, flexing while we were actually doing the event, with whispers of 100K again coming in the near future. Had everyone buzzing. If you were there, you felt the shift. If you missed it, don't sweat it. We're bringing the heat to Vegas coming up. The blockbuster news, we're locked and loaded for the next crypto extravaganza. Mark your calendars, because we're beyond thrilled to announce that Bitcoin Palooza is storming Las Vegas for Bitcoin 2025. Bitcoin 2025 will be May 27th through 29th. We'll nestle Bitcoin Palooza right there, probably in the middle of that. That's right. Sin City's about to become Satoshi City, and we're unleashing a desert inferno of crypto brilliance. Picture this: 3 days of mind-bending panels, mind-bending crypto, really. It's just really something else. All bathed in Vegas's neon glow. Bitcoin 2025 is gearing up to be the crypto event of the year. 100K Bitcoin prediction, altcoin showdowns, and a party vibe that only Vegas can crank at 211. We'll be there live on stage, doing it again with Crypto Palooza. All right, let's dive into the headlines rocking the money world today, because here on the Impact Money Show, we're all about stitching together power, policy, and your profits. It's March 26, 2025. It's 6:24 in the morning. And the globe's a furnace of stories that hit where it counts. First up, right here in D.C., the political engine roaring. President Trump dropped a seismic executive order yesterday mandating proof of citizenship to vote in the federal elections, demanding all ballots be in by election day. Wow, I mean, what a concept. Now I wonder if that'll hold up. That's really the story behind that, right? Will that hold up? Thing about executive orders is, of course, they can just, they be thrown out by the courts, or as soon as the next guy comes in. But it is certainly a step in the right direction. Trump's pitching it as the ultimate safeguard for election integrity, but critics are sounding the alarm. Millions could be sidelined, and legal challenges are already piling in like a rush hour traffic on I-95. Why does this matter to your money? Stability is the bedrock of markets, and this could either cement confidence or unleash pandemonium. Tonight, Trump's back on Newsmax with Greg Kelly at 9 p.m. Expect sparks and keep your trading apps handy. This isn't just politics. It's policy with a capital P that could ripple through every asset class. But that's not the only Trump headline sending shockwaves. So his administration is scrambling after a security blunder that's pure Hollywood. Sensitive Yemen war plans got leaked in a Signal group chat that somehow roped in the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz is taking the fall, calling it his mess, while Trump is shrugging it off as a glitch. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is howling for a hearing, and bipartisan rage is deafening. This isn't a slip-up. It's a trust shatterer that could jack up risk premiums across the board. Think equities, bonds, even crypto. And there's the Trump-Ukraine ceasefire push. U.S. delegations are working overtime. Though Russia is, being Russia, they're throwing curveballs. The April 2 secondary tariffs on Venezuela oil buyers are looming large. So just to give you an idea on this again, I talked about it yesterday, but this is a 25% tariff on countries that are buying oil from Venezuela. I don't think this has ever been done before. This is kind of interesting. And China is in the mix there. Seems like to me very much Trump-style negotiation, something that will not actually happen, but he's going to push it and try to use it as negotiation. That's what I think. And now anything can happen, and maybe some of it will happen. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see it play out. It is stirring some trade jitters. And Vice President J.D. Vance is prepping for a Greenland trip where locals are digging in against Trump's takeover bid. From Kiev to Nuuk, this White House is a geopolitical whirlwind, and your portfolio is in the crosshairs. I was talking somewhere, I forget, yesterday. I took my daughter to orthopedic, and I saw some old friends. And I said, yeah, I feel like Trump wakes up, and if he's not in the headlines, he's like, how do I got to be in the headlines. It's like, everybody's like, okay. Not that I didn't support him or I don't support him. It's like, it's crazy. Across the Atlantic, the Ukraine war is a live wire. Yesterday, Russia and Ukraine sealed a U.S.-mediated naval ceasefire in the Black Sea, huge for shipping and energy stability. But before the champagne is popped, Russia hammered Kryvyi Rih with drones overnight, wounding 15 just hours after the deal. Vladimir Putin's playing chess, slapping sanctions relief demands on the table, and Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky is calling it a bluff. Trump's optimistic on Newsmax, saying Putin's itching to end it, but dragging his feet. Oil's reacting. West Texas Intermediates up 0.32% at 69.32, sniffing up supply risk. The U.S. dollar DXY index is flat at 104.22. But if this ceasefire frays, expect volatility to storm. Energy traders, safe haven seekers, your screens are lighting up. On Putin front, of course, he is the master of I don't know what you want to call it. He is Putin. That Kyiv strike, called the biggest drone hit there since the war started by local officials, has Ukraine and the West doubting the ceasefire and what will happen. Post-Riyadh talks Monday, Putin paused energy grid attacks but nixed a 30-day truce, pushing terms like NATO bans and territorial grabs that Europe's Kaja Kallas says this has been bad faith. Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, calling him super smart, but Putin's claiming Donetsk win and doubling down on BRICS manufacturing. This isn't just war, it's economic chess. It's moving oil, currencies, and the market. Closer to home, raw reality bites. In Atlanta, a 20-year-old construction worker plummeted 19 stories to his death. No harness. A gut-punching reminder of the risk beyond the Dow. In North Carolina, Republicans are resurrecting a bathroom bill fight echoing the 2016's boycott chaos. Think consumer sentiment, corporate backlash, and local economic tremors. These aren't just news blips, they're threads in the market tapestry. Tech and cultures, San Francisco's Niantic, the Pokemon Go Wizards just cut staff after a $3.85 billion deal. Growth's got a butcher. The city's legendary 420 Hippie Bash canceled for 2025. Silicon Valley vibe shift is real, and it's dragging NASDAQ futures down at the moment, down about 1.19. Elon Musk's headline hurricanes, Tesla's under attack, over 80 incidents of arson and vandalism since January, tied to his Trump admin gig at the Department of Government Efficiency, DOE or Doge as they like to call it. Trump's tossing Soros names out on Newsmax, which is kind of funny. I always say that Soros is like the boogeyman. All right, that's the front man. He blames Soros. It's people behind Soros you need to look at, guys. I mean, is that guy even still alive? Like, who knows? But it's Soros. It's not Soros, guys. It's the guy behind Soros. Soros was a big central banker guy. He's got all the Fed and everybody. They're all that's them, you know. He's the front guy. Pure theater. While FBI's Kash Patel calls it domestic terrorism, Musk's Social Security critiques are clashing with Trump's no-cut stance, freaking out GOP elders worried about the seniors. Tesla's stock is still sliding. Musk or us, protests are flaring, and he's suing ex-rep Jamil Bowman for CNN's Nazi job, posting on X on March 23rd. Suit inbound, Musk said on Fox News. He did get quite a bit of pushback for his interview. Gaza's a powder keg, rocking oil sentiment. Still fairly low, you could say. I mean, high, still high for my taste, but low for where we've been. Overnight, Israel hit Gaza again, wounding 15, shattering January ceasefire with Hamas. Since March 17th, over 404 people are killed, 562 wounded, pushing the death toll past 50,000. Most of them women and children. That is per the Palestinian Health Ministry. Now, of course, you can cut it in half if you'd like to. 25,000. Actually, the Gaza's count says it's 61,700, with the rubble hiding more. A March 13 UN report screams genocide, citing health care destruction and birth blocks. Of course, Israel's just scoffing. But South Africa's International Criminal Court case rolls on. Trump's ethnic cleansing plan, backed by Israel's Bezalel Smotrich, cutting Gaza's power March 9th, draws the rabbi outrage and UN condemnation. Aid's blocked since March 2nd. Starvation is spiking, and oil takes the bump, trading at 69.32, reflecting the mess going on over there. Markets are edgy. Dow futures down 1.13, S&P futures down 0.16, NASDAQ futures down 0.19. Dip completes the trifecta. Trump tariffs, uncertainty, April 2, Venezuela oil sanctions, plus Ukraine and Gaza. Tomorrow's Fed data, consumer confidence are brewing a risk-off stew, in my opinion. Gold's flat at 3,026. Silver's up about 0.25% at 34.09. Safe havens are coiled, ready to spring. Cryptos are jam. Post Bitcoin Palooza, Bitcoin's up about 0.8%, currently trading about 87,900. Japanese buys 375 million ETF inflows, and Trump tariff wobble fuel this market that we have. Altcoins like Solana and XRP up 1 to 5% ride the wave, but Ethereum noticeably down about a third of a percentage point at 2,050. MicroStrategy's 584 million BTC grab on Monday and a 1.5 billion Bybit hack linger. Vegas, May 27, 29. Bitcoin could hit 90K to 100 by Bitcoin 2025. Get hyped. The Japanese yen is slipping continues to slip, currently at 150.14 Japanese yen per dollar, down about 0.25%. The Bank of Japan's timid 0.25% rates maybe will go up. We'll get a hike. And their GDP is down. Dollar strength is flat but firm. We'll see what happens. Legislation is ablaze. This is ablaze. The Senate's Lake and Eiley Act passed 64-35 yesterday, locking undocumented immigrants accused of crimes in ICE hands. Named for murdered student, it's GOP's red meat. 12 Dems like Fetterman and Kelly joined, but $27 billion cost and arrest, not conviction rules, rile others. Sarah's Law is also included in there. They're just calling it, it's kind of funny on other places, just a big bill. But anyway, AI is roaring. Google's Gemini's 2.5 Pro dropped yesterday, racing OpenAI and DeepSeek. China's disruptor banned in Austria. The GSA's AI tool from Biden's era launches. Musk denies Doge rumors. And robotics, Capitol Hill demos, UB Tech's factory swarms, and 150 million humanoid bets. Cash is pouring in. That is your world power policy and profit in a blender. Let's get the great Matt Dixon here and talk about the Market Watch report. Sir Matt, how are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you, Bruce. Good to catch up again. So I'm going to present straight away my screen. I've been looking at a few interesting data points. Let me just see if I can work this out again as usual. I think I should be sharing my screen now.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's the oil price. We'll start with there. No particular order that I'm going to go through here, but we mentioned oil yesterday. That was in a triangle, sideways consolidation. Basically, this is a bull flag scenario. So potentially oil price is going to take off. It's begun taking off. We had this support line with the dotted line here, and oil price has begun to take off. And it's pushing, it's actually about the same price as yesterday, but there's potential for it to really accelerate to the upside, which will be damaging to the economy. So I've been looking a little bit at the US economy. So interestingly, here's a site I found just looking at US inflation. Looked at a couple of things. I just picked on stuff that I like. I mean, I love my morning coffee. So I thought, okay, let's see what's happened to the price of coffee in the US. And you can see it's actually, gone up dramatically. This is a longish term chart.
Well, I mean, the price of coffee is just ridiculous. What Starbucks did to us was just horrible. They got us all hooked on this coffee, and then they just kept raising the price. I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely crazy, yeah. So, I mean, look at that. The way it's just spiking higher. And then maybe something more down to earth. Look at eggs. Look at the price of eggs. I mean, people say inflation's under control. This is crazy. This is stuff that everyone drinks coffee. Everyone uses eggs, whether it's in the cooking or whatever.
Yeah.
In their morning breakfast, whatever it is, everyone uses. I'm just picking on a couple of things that
I'm so glad that you are, because this is what I've been saying. And they're like, oh, inflation's coming. I mean, it's like, guys, eggs, it just went up like so fast too. It was like a couple of years ago, you could get a dozen eggs for like $2 or $3, and now it's like $7 or $8.
Yeah, I mean, look at that, 19% increase on the previous month. And this is right up to date. This is the price of eggs in February 2025. So a 19% increase. And we're talking about inflation of 2%. But the stuff that we use, we even see, we just looked at the oil price chart, which is beginning to head higher. That's going to have a major impact on everything. But even stuff that we're already consuming, as I say, coffee, eggs, you can look at all sorts of things. You can just change whatever you're looking at there. But it's a bit of a concern that inflation seems to be running away, and yet growth isn't running away. We've actually got GDP figures out this week, so we'll see what that comes out at, because that is going to be important.
Yes.
I mentioned yesterday about capital flows. This is actually looking at flows into US securities here, both short and long-term securities, and we can see actually that the flows turn negative in 2025. So that surely is a worry. And these tariffs are supposedly trying to, I'm not quite sure what the logic is behind them. I know there is, you can make up an argument for anything actually, but
right.
doesn't seem to be having a positive effect so far. Maybe he's got some sort of long-term plan there that it might improve things. But for now, these tariffs are causing a lot of potential trouble. And here's actually some information put together by Statista, but it's independent information. So I like to look at what independents are saying about the effect of tariffs or any economic policy for that matter. And we're looking here at the effect on GDP of these tariffs, and there's a cumulative effect, and I think this is just over the next year, of minus 0.65% off GDP, but actually a loss of about 600,000 jobs. This is exactly the opposite of what Trump was talking about when campaigning for jobs, etc. And these tariffs are causing serious pain for jobs. As you said, if even with Doge, you're talking about making things more efficient. I understand that, but it makes people very, very concerned about the jobs. People are losing jobs, and it means that they're having to rein in their spending, and it's just having a negative effect on the economy. So all a little bit worrying there. And again, another independent report looking at the potential negative effects, seriously negative effects of various economic issues in America at the moment. So it's talking about tariffs here, and this is actually an ex-IMF official here, former IMF official, talking about this here. So he talked about excess tariffs and saying effectively how damaging that is, that it basically stifles competition, increases inflation, curbs growth, and fuels corruption. So this is the effect of tariffs from the IMF officials' perspective. Another big problem, the massive debt. We've talked about this throughout the whole over a year now of the Impact Money Show. Talked about the problems of debt, and US debt held by the public is already 99% of GDP, and it's about to smash the record high that was actually set just in the aftermath of World War II. So it just shows the seriousness here. We're not talking numbers here. Obviously, the numbers are increasing, but we're talking about percentage of GDP. So this is, actually what actually matters. And then he mentions oligarchs with political power. Obviously, he mentions, Elon Musk, who's had significant influence over Trump. Everyone knows Musk, but then there's the other Wall Street investors, the likes of Scott Bessent and the Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick. So these people have an immense amount of power and, able to swing policy to their benefit. And then another damaging thing, erratic policy making. Now, no need to mention really too much about that. We all know that it has been erratic. And actually, you say this is Trump's negotiating stand, the way he works, that he basically comes in with some heavy-handed policy and then maybe steps back a little bit. So a little bit worrying, and then waning confidence in the rule of law. So I won't go into that. They're all concerns that people have.
And not to change your direction at all, but I mean, you just look at Greenland too. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's like a whirlwind. I mean, I was sitting there at the doctor's office yesterday, and like a woman, I mean, I've known her, I don't know, 10 or 15, maybe even 20 years, her daughter ice skated and, everything. We both, we've been historically Trump supporters, and not that we're not supporting him now, but it's just crazy. Just like you feel like your neck is on a swivel.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to put in the economic data that's coming up.
I see it.
Yeah, no, I'll leave that one for now. This was just something looking at. Yeah, we've already looked at that actually. So we'll head into the charts. We've done enough of that now, dissecting the US economy. Bitcoin and so on is actually standing up really well. We've actually had a little bit of a push up in Bitcoin. So I'll switch over to the Bitcoin chart. We can see here that we have pushed up from that low point. I was trying to dissect and determine whether this move down is complete and whether we are actually moving straight up now to new all-time highs. I don't think we are. And I looked at the move down. It does actually appear to be a corrective move down. Now, the reason I say that is this low point here, you could potentially call this wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, but this cannot be wave 4 because wave 4 is not allowed to go into territory of wave 1 if you call this wave 1 here. it just doesn't work. So it seems to be corrected down. So I counted it as an A wave. I think even the B wave, by the way, when I looked on a shorter time frame, it's actually made up of 7 waves to the upside. Now, 7 waves, 7 is actually a corrective number. So it tells me that this is still, at the moment, better labeled as a B wave. So it would tell me that that's A down, B up, probably a C wave down to come. So I still think there's probably a bit of a turnaround to come. Now, whether that's off the back of GDP numbers, we've also got PCE numbers out coming this Friday. We talked about inflation just now. So let's see what these figures have to say and what impact they have on risk assets. But we'll see what happens again by the end of the day. I think it's today they've got GDP figures out, if I remember rightly.
As well, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, I'll keep it on the daily for now, because what I want to do is just open this out and just show you why we're at a potential turning point. So this candle here, you can see it. We mentioned it yesterday, that it's a doji candlestick, that basically it's a candlestick that tests lower and fails. It tests higher and fails, and it ends up right in the middle. That tells you the market is undecided. It's actually not got any particular direction, whether up or down. It's undecided. Now, so far today, we're actually seeing an increase in Bitcoin price. But as I say, never judge a candle until it's finished. So this is a daily candlestick. So we need to wait for the end of the day. Now, if we get some disappointing GDP numbers, we could actually see this Bitcoin price turn negative. And then that will be quite a confirming signal that potentially this is a local top in the market. As I say, I've got it labeled as a B wave, and we can potentially then push down in a C wave to complete wave 4. But longer term, I've maintained that I am actually still bullish, and I think we're going to push to new all-time highs for Bitcoin. But I just think short term, things are still challenging. And again, just to reinforce that, we can actually see that we do have here hidden bearish divergence. We've got lower highs in price and got corresponding higher highs in RSI. That is known as hidden bearish divergence, and it tells you that there's likely to be a continuation of the downside. And this has been, we've looked at this over and over again with various assets. It's a really accurate predictor of price. It's not 100%, nothing is, but it's been pretty accurate. So we need to keep an eye on it. As I say, particularly this candlestick now, this is what's showing green at the moment. Let's just see what it is by the end of the day. Potentially, we have a few signs that we could be turning down on price again with Bitcoin. So, as I say, I'm not chasing price higher. A lot of people are beginning to get a little bit optimistic about the increase in Bitcoin. I mean, it did dip to about 76,000, didn't it, a few days ago? And we're now at 88,000. So it's had a good little run. But as I say, this looks corrective, all overlapping once again. We can see a lot of overlap in these, even this movement down here overlaps this movement up here. It looks corrective. And as I say, it's actually in 7 waves, which is a corrective number. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us turn down by the end of the day on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is highly correlated. It actually leads a lot of the market, really. There's a big correlation across other assets, particularly crypto assets, but even it's got high correlation with the SPX, the S&P 500. So here's the S&P. Again, it actually looks like 3 waves higher. I think I can see a relatively clear 3-wave movement up there, A, B, C. So I think that we could be turning lower. So far, we've got a little bit lower showing on the futures today. So let's just see what happens there. But again, like Bitcoin, even if we do push lower, so we've got from the top, basically an A down, a B up, and a C down. If that happens, I'm still confident we will still see another new all-time high for the S&P 500. So medium term, I'm actually really bullish. And that's why I'm still looking to buy dips. So whenever the market dips down, not now, not chasing as it's pushing higher, but if we see a dip down, like we saw here, a good dip down, and we can look at internal wave counts to see whether that was over. But I'm looking to buy these dips, and if we dip again, I'll look to buy. I am genuinely looking to add to holdings whenever we see dips in price. So at this stage, although long term, I'm a little bit concerned with those economic figures we just looked at. That shows a pretty cloudy long-term picture. But short term, very short term, maybe a bit more downturn. Medium term, I think we're going to push to new all-time highs. So I'd like to position for that if we do see a further push down. we've seen the dollar holding reasonably steady at the moment. And actually, we talked about that signal that was pretty accurate. And we had here a regular bullish divergence, which signaled price going higher, precisely what's happened. So again, the accuracy of this signal is probably the best of all the technical indicators or signals that I use. On its own, it's probably the best, but you never use one signal by itself. You try to put them together like pieces of the jigsaw I'm always talking about. So you'll use this, you might use moving average crossovers. I meant to look, actually, one of the viewers messaged me yesterday talking about a death cross on a particular asset. I can't even remember which asset it was, so I'm going to have to look back for that message. But a death cross is a very negative technical situation where you get basically a shorter term moving average crossing over a long term moving average, and it's a sign of a potential market decline. So I'll need to look into that and perhaps talk about that one tomorrow. You mentioned about dollar yen. Yes, dollar yen is looking it's moved up a little bit, but I think the signs again of it being an ABC higher, and I think potentially again we could see further downside in dollar yen. That would tell us that there's going to be potentially yen strength, because with dollar yen, as it pushes higher, you're seeing yen weakness, dollar strength. The other way around, if it's going lower, you're seeing yen strength, dollar weakness. So it's looking as though we're probably going to see further dollar weakness and further yen strength. So if that happens, this particular chart is highly correlated with risk assets. So if we see dollar yen going down, then we'll see risk assets like Bitcoin, like S&P, Ethereum, etc., all heading down. At the moment, that's what this chart looks like. It looks as though we are going to get another push down at some point. So whether the Japanese raise rates again, I'm told they are going to raise rates again in the not too distant future. The recent meeting they had was a hold. That was only about last week, I think. So we'll keep a close eye on that. So obviously two sides to the equation, both dollar and yen, but we'll keep a close eye on that to see where it's going. There's one asset we looked at, and just see if we've got it here. I'm sure we've got it. We looked at it some time ago. I was really bullish on it, and I'm still actually very, very bullish, but I can't find it here. I'm looking for Ton coin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here it is, Ton. So it's, yeah, this is one of my more, I'm still expecting, by the way, most probably a pullback, a further pullback. Now I had, whether that B should be moved there. You know, I was expecting some kind of upturn coming, and it didn't happen there. It happened further on. Never be 100% right, but we've had a good upturn since then. So even if you'd entered that at that point and held till now, you'd still be in profit. Just depends where you put your stop losses, of course. But actually, Ton is still one of my interesting coins that I'm looking at, interesting tokens that I'm looking at. If I was going to load up for the future, if we do see another dip, I'll actually probably come out with a list of favorites for you, maybe on a future show, probably half a dozen favorites. You know, the likes of Solana, the likes of Toncoin, and a couple of others that I'll be looking at. Not
Ethereum.
Not Ethereum. No, it's not my favorite. But even Ethereum, I mean, there's still a lot of interest in it. But I still think Ethereum, you know, this is actually quite a telling chart, I think. You know, we've looked at it before, but, you know, we can still see that this looks like a consolidation. It actually looks like this pattern here in the circle, this pattern here, this pattern here. And we're just replicating these previous consolidation patterns. So I really do think the labeling is correct here, where we have basically an ABW, then an X wave, an ABY, then another X wave, then ABZ. That would be what's known as a triple correction. It's very rare in charting circles to have this. You don't normally see triples. It's very, very rare. But it looks as though it's working out that way with Ethereum. So that would tell us that we're there or thereabouts for another potential turn down. So this is what I've been saying with Bitcoin. I think there's another turn down. In fact, I'm going to post this on X, because a lot of people have been saying, you know, where'd you get your information? You know, why do you think Bitcoin is going to turn down? Well, you do need to look at correlations across assets, and Bitcoin, even though Ethereum's not my favorite, they're still going to be pretty much tied at the hip and go in the same sort of direction. So
Yeah, it's really interesting that you say this because it's one of the things you've been saying over the year or so that we've been doing the show, and that was something that I in my trading that I didn't use that much. And you're absolutely correct. You can look and then see how other assets are, especially with crypto, other crypto assets are reacting, and then judge where the overall market's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting when you look at things like currencies, like cable. The pound against the dollar we looked at. Well, that's been obviously around for decades, many decades now. So we can track that. We can look at the long-term price history of pound against dollar, and we can draw some conclusions because there are correlations with other assets which may not have been around very long. So, for example, Solana has not been around a long time at all, but there is still a correlation there. So sometimes we can draw more information from one asset than another. And even here with Bitcoin, I actually think that Ethereum, even though it's a far lesser coin than Bitcoin, I mean, obviously it's still number 2, but in terms of market cap and everything, it's way below Bitcoin. But the Bitcoin chart isn't quite as clear at the moment as the Ethereum chart is, but there is still a high correlation between them. So if I'm expecting such a downturn, and this really does look like consolidation. I mean, you can see they're exactly the same as consolidation. So you would expect it to be followed by a further impulse to the downside in the form of an A wave next, which will be a 5-wave move to the downside. So it should be reasonably rapid. So what's going to cause it? People keep coming on X. What is going to cause the next downturn? Who knows? I can't predict the future. I don't know what the news is going to be. But the charts tell me what the likely direction is going to be. And we've said this so many times on the show that we can see the direction coming. We don't know what's going to cause it. And then news happens to come out and actually fulfill our chart prediction of what's going to happen. Don't know quite why it works that way, why the charts are so accurate in that way, but it seems to be the case because it's happened many times. You cannot see what the news is going to be, which causes the event, but the charts are telling you somehow in advance. And that's, it's mind-boggling to think that the charts can really be that accurate in determining what the direction is for the future without even knowing the news. But having said that, for example, with Trump, we, when Trump won the election, we expected there to be a massive pump in asset prices, and there was the Trump pump. It was absolutely amazing. But then again, in advance, we said when the inauguration comes, he's not going to be able to deliver everything he promised. He's supposed to be the pro-crypto president, not going to be able to deliver quite as much, even though he came out with this strategic reserve and so on, crypto reserve. No,
it was a little bit of a flop. Let's face it. The crypto reserve. I mean, we were talking about it at Bitcoin Palooza. It came up on stage a few times. I mean, everybody thought they were going to be buying crypto, and all they're doing is shifting seized crypto over into fund.
So a little lack of substance there in delivery, and so clearly there was going to be a disappointment. So clearly, once the inauguration happened, there was going to be a sell-off, which was precisely what happened. I think that that may continue a bit further. As you say, there's a lot of geopolitical issues with the Middle East. And with Russia, Ukraine, and various hotspots around the world. So there's still plenty of worries out there. But I think that I'm hoping that Trump does get some success with his peace initiatives, and I actually believe he will do. Sometimes it takes a different approach in terms of, the way you approach these issues, these problems. And Trump is certainly taking a different approach. So I genuinely believe he's going to see some success. So even though we might see a further bit of a sell-off in the market, I think that this big peace, thing that's going to happen, I think it's going to really flourish and will give us some hope for the markets. But also, I think that whilst we're under pressure, I'm hoping that we may see some short-term relief from the inflationary concerns we've had. We looked at coffee, we looked at eggs, and all sorts of other assets and commodities before. And the price of these things currently is inflating rapidly. But I think we'll probably see a respite from that. It will allow them to lower rates. So I actually think that they're not going to lower rates at the next meeting, but maybe come a little bit later in the year, they'll start to lower interest rates again. And they're going to get desperate as well, I believe, and then they're actually going to start printing money. And when that happens, initially,
They already started. They're already printing money.
I heard that. Yes, yeah, I did hear. So that's amazing. I thought they'd be doing interest rates before printing money, but shows if there's more money coming in. So M2 is actually, money supply is probably going to be increasing again soon. That money's got to go somewhere, and it is going to go into risk assets. So that is going to give us the reason for this pump I'm looking for in risk assets to new all-time high for Bitcoin, new all-time high for Solana, new all-time high for XRP, and the list goes on. Maybe even challenge the previous all-time high for Ethereum. Who knows? So I think there's a lot of positives out there. I think it will be a good show. I will do some analysis. It will be a good one to look at some promising assets, not the highly speculative ones, not the meme coins. I mean, just looking at Trump. Okay, I mean, I remember a friend of mine invested into Trump coin when it was about $20. He put many millions on leverage, so he's obviously he's lost a lot of money. And this is the problem with some of these meme coins. I'm not going to be coming out with meme recommendations, but I will be looking at some solid tokens, some tokens which focus on AI, because I think that's the big narrative. And you've been talking a lot about AI in these shows, Bruce. I think that's one of the main.
This is the way. First of all, it makes everything, where I'm able to be much more productive. I'm actually just looking. I want to stay more and more and more. It's moving so fast that I even want to transform my own companies just into AI. It's what it's all about. I mean, it's crazy.
Absolutely, definitely the future, and it's definitely going to change things. It's going to accelerate the rate of progress. So if you don't, if you're not involved with AI, you're going to get left behind. There's no doubt about it. So, so we'll definitely be looking at some decent AI tokens which focus on AI. And just see if we can get involved there. So I think if we get these further dips, as I say, I'll be looking to buy the dips. I'll be looking to dollar cost average, and it'll be really important just to identify those assets which have the best potential for the future. And if you think about crypto assets, there's multi-X potential with these. I mean, if you're investing into S&P 500 companies, you could get some growth. It's going to push to new all-time highs, but you haven't got quite the multi-X potential. So maybe you don't put all your money in, all your eggs in one basket, but there will be opportunity to put little bits here and there into some promising cryptos, and potentially multi-X potential could make a real difference to your overall position. So definitely be looking at that in the future. So I think that's pretty much it for today. We'll look at the economic news coming out, GDP, and let's report back on that tomorrow and see where it's likely to take us with the with asset prices. So
amazing.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks for all your support on X as well. I get some great messages coming through. Thanks very much, and look forward to coming back again tomorrow.
Amazing, my friend. Well, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Bruce.
And, look forward to seeing you tomorrow too.
Thank you, everybody. Bye for now.
Cheers. It's great. Matt Dixon with the Market Watch Report, world-class analysis that we get on the Impact Money Show here daily. Of course, we are on a TV in Texas and Louisiana, as well as streaming around the world on these wonderful platforms. Putting the dotting the I's and crossing the T's of some pretty big deals we're putting together to expand the network. Nothing is ever as fast as you want it, right? Except crypto. Crypto's fast. It's fast. But we're working on it. The Bitcoin Palooza is going to be a lot of fun there in Vegas. I think we're going to do Florida after that. This we have it's a winning combination. Really is something that, and I'll have more of the media. Of course, we have a lot of stuff from our phones and stuff like that, but we had a professional photographer there as well, and so we're going to start to put out some of that media here over the next few days. I think we got the download last night while I was sleeping. New York's a funny place, right? I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning here in DC to do the show. In New York City, I was still up at 5 in the morning. It's rough. It's like being in another country. It really was. It's like being in another country. Like that's, and then you have, of course, your jet lag. Wife's like, what's going on? Why are you so tired? If you just flew back from Europe, you'd be tired too. Nah, I'm just kidding. My wife's pretty easy. But anyway, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. BitcoinPalooza.nyc is the website. And we're going to continue to do those. Have a number of other things coming up. Of course, I'll be in Dubai early May, end of April, early May. Been asked to do a few things, sit on a few panels, talk a little bit, throw some events. We'll, of course, be at the Global Family Office Investment Summit again with our friend Anthony Ratosa. There on, I think it's the 6th and 7th, or the 7th and 8th. And then probably head over to the south of France for a little while because I won't be able to help myself. The thing about the Bitcoin Palooza events, it's interesting. We have an event here actually in Washington, D.C. today, the D.C. Blockchain Summit, and it is all the suits. It's all the suits, you know. It's everybody. You got the senators and the congressmen and this and that and the other. Digital Asset Summit is the same thing, really, up in New York City last week. And the movement, the Bitcoin movement, the monetary revolution is still going, but the bankers and the elites now have decided that they are going to do their thing. And of course, you see, of course, the bankers bought up so many Bitcoins. So it's pretty interesting. It's great to have everybody on board. Bitcoin Palooza is, it's about the monetary revolution. It's about taking the power back from the central bankers. And those people can be involved. We're easy. Everybody can be involved. It's like Liberland, right? Liberland, see my flag up there. Anybody can be a Liberlander, all right? Anybody can be a Bitcoiner. Anybody can be a Bitcoiner. We want everybody to be a Bitcoiner. We want everybody to join Liberland, right? But the fact of the matter is that the only reason that everybody came around on this is because we were winning, right? And they couldn't stop it. So they just decided to, you can't beat them, join them, right? And that doesn't matter. But the point that I'm trying to make here in a nice way is that Bitcoin Palooza stands for freedom. And it stands for the monetary revolution, taking the power back from these people. The great Lou Kerner had a panel. My brother was the moderator, and he asked him about working with the different people and this and that. And Lou Kerner, and I'll flower it up a little bit because I can't say it on TV, but he says, I don't know if you heard me. Those people are not our friends. Screw the banks. I don't know if you remember, but just a couple weeks ago, they passed legislation where the banks can unbank you for the way you think or post on social media or anything like that. And that's what Bitcoin is about. It's about taking that power back from our overlords, from people who make it so you can't speak, so you can't say what you think. That was why I got involved. I saw very early on that Bitcoin was not only could be used as money, but I saw that it could be used as a mechanism for actually running governments and everything else. And that we didn't need all of these Hollywood people. I say that Washington, D.C. is like Hollywood for ugly people. We didn't need all this stuff. We didn't need all this money printing and everything else. Anyway, that's it for me. Love you guys. Great doing the show. I will play. Make sure, guys, down here in this corner over here, we have the QR code for 2Bit. 2Bit is a great exchange, and they are available to U.S. customers. So make sure to hit that. Watch this.
Hey, Randy, I got another home run for us, man. This 2Bit exchange is absolutely amazing.
Hey, Bruce, what's up, man? Yeah, why don't you tell me about that 2Bit exchange?
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to be able to list our coins that we want, that we support, and they're going to be on this amazing derivatives platform. It's absolutely awesome.
Derivatives? I love derivatives. I can't wait to be on the trade copy program.
So what I want you to do is set up an account and then send me your UID, and let's set you up with a trade copy system, and you just let it run. Copy our trades. That's it. Easy peasy.
So you want me to open an account, send you my user ID, and you hook me up with the trade copy system. I can't wait. Sounds spectacular.
Hey, Matt. Hey, listen, I met with the guys at 2-Bit Exchange while I was in Dubai, and this platform really looks amazing.
Yeah, hi Bruce. Yeah, thank you again for that heads up. I mean, I've looked into this 2-Bit platform. It does appear to have everything we're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. 2-Bit, T-O-O-B-I-T. They have great liquidity. They have futures platform. There's a lot of functionality that I think you're going to like on there. And they really want to work with us. They want to work with the Impact Money Show. And as you and I both know, if they have a good product and they want to work with us, well, hey, that's half the battle.
I mean, basically, I love that copy trade facility. I love the features on the platform. It's basically very simple to use.
Our viewers only need to set it up to copy our trades, and they just do all the trades that we do. Makes it really easy for people to participate. I think they're going to love it. I'm pretty excited about it.
And yeah, it's definitely going to benefit people. I mean, obviously with all the years of experience that we can pack into it and people can basically benefit from that. Yeah, I definitely think it's a goer.
Hey, David. Yeah, man, I'm excited about it too. I mean, when you think of the ways that we can help our viewers earn money and be able to participate in the monetary revolution, this 2-Bit platform just opens up all kinds of doors that they don't have right now.
Hey, Bruce, I'm checking out this platform. It's revolutionary.
That's absolutely correct. And the futures platform is amazing. Great liquidity. And the copy trader program, people are going to be able to make the trades exactly when we make them and make the money that we make. It's a win-win for everybody.
Open for U.S. customers, and you can deposit money with a credit or debit card. Doesn't get better than this.
Beautiful. And what do you think we should use as a referral code?
I think we should use Impact Money. That's the one. Impact Money.